Thanks for joining us on the weekend edition of National Focus. I'm your presenter, Tasia Floissac. Coming up, Solid Waste Corporation brings awareness to recycling. The Princess Margaret Hospital Psychiatric Unit observes World Mental Health Day in a special way, and the Education Mentorship Programme gains ground. Stay tuned for the details of these and other stories after this.
A lot of bathtubs are blamed for bruises. Some staircases are accused of being responsible for broken bones. Doors are occasionally viewed suspiciously as causing lesions. A high percentage of tables are accused of producing bleeding or trauma. Violence against women is a crime, and it's everyone's responsibility. It's inexcusable. If you're a victim or witness of physical or psychological violence or abuse, seek help and denounce the perpetrator.
Thanks for staying with us. The Education Mentorship Programme is gaining ground across the country as more students are being placed to assist the younger ones. The Education Mentorship Programme, which is an arm of the National Employment Programme, is targeted at students to help elevate their standard of learning. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Trade, Employment, Industry and Diaspora Affairs, Karen Prevot, expands on the progress of the programme.
What we have done, we have brought in our college graduates, Dominica State College graduates, and they have been providing education mentorship, tutoring, assistance with homework. They have been helping the students in the schools, both in the primary and secondary schools, and I know that we have had mentors at Kingston Primary School, in Saliver, and also we are under this program expanding the Education Mentorship Program. So some of you who are here today will also be joining a group that we already have to provide assistance to our students to improve their standard of learning. We have gotten very good results from the schools. When we started last year, we had about 52 students, 52 young people engaged at the schools. Today, we are probably at about 95 because we've had a number of schools call us and literally ask us to send the mentors because they have seen the benefit of the mentors working with the students after school, assisting the teachers in class, assisting with homework projects, etc.
The national employment has different facets, including the internship program, apprenticeship program, education mentorship program, and the newest community development program. Too good to waste, reduce, reuse, recycle. This was the theme the Dominica Solid Waste Management Corporation used to highlight the importance of recycling to the Dominican public.
Too good to waste. The refuse that you use at your home, cans, plastic, those are the composition of the material that you have in your waste collection system. Wrapping, film, cardboard, food waste. You know, food peeling, you know, we are agricultural people, so we eat a lot of what we grow. So we have all that material as waste material. So what do you do with your material from your kitchen, your food waste, your banana peeling? Those things could be composted. It's a good material. Why put it in a garbage truck? And why should a garbage truck carry compost material from anywhere of the part of the island to Focal landfill? What we say is those material, it's too good to waste. It's too good to landfill. So you could pass that on to your neighbor who has a farm. You could do backyard composting. Cans, plastic. We hear about the environment. We hear about how we have to keep the environment clean. We hear about less cutting of trees because we could recycle the material.
The week of activities ran from September 22nd to September 27th. One of the main activities of the week was an exhibition held at the Windsor Park Stadium on Wednesday, September 24th. Several other activities were held. These include addresses from the Minister and Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Health, a live panel discussion, and a health check day for staff and customers.
We also had a tour of the landfill that, you know, the general public could come in, have a look at the landfill facility, see what we're doing with our waste, because sometimes you could just tell somebody something, but when they come and they see for themselves because presently on the landfill we have a plant that was donated by Coca-Cola to be used to shred plastics. And then we have a lot of partners. Domlec has actually agreed, and they started to put the free-phase electricity to power up that machine. We also have a commitment from Ross University to meet the cost. You understand? So we are partnering with local entities to ensure that recycling and reduction of waste is something that is engraved in our minds and hearts as Dominicans.
The acting general manager says that it is important for the public to also join the effort and get up to par with the methods used for the disposal and reuse of waste material.
Waste management has evolved over the years. We know we are a third world country, but because we are a third world country, we do not want to practice third world practices where garbage disposal is concerned. We want to adopt first world practices.
The corporation is looking to introduce a proper method for recycling into its existing garbage collection system.
That means if you are living in Soufrière, for example, or Point Michel, your collection schedule is most likely on Mondays and Thursdays. So within that collection system, what we would want to implement is that one day for recyclable material. So for example, Mondays would be passing Point Michel for recyclable material, and then Thursday would do other waste material that is not considered recycling material. Solid waste would not be able to provide all the bins that you need for those color-coded system, because generally for recyclable material you use blue. Anytime you see a blue container anywhere you go around the world, you know that it's recyclable material. Solid waste management cannot provide a bin per se to each individual, to each household per se. What we are advocating is, even if there is no recyclable project in your community, or solid waste is not collecting recyclable material from your community, you could still participate. You could use clear bags. We are trying to adopt a color code. Use a clear bag. You could obtain it at your village council office. You could obtain it at solid waste. What we have done is we made those bags available at the village council office. You could put all your recyclable material.
A week of activities culminated with a health walk to the Berry Lake. GIS will bring you more from the Solid Waste Corporation in a subsequent newscast. As scientists around the world race to understand and combat the Ebola virus, healthcare personnel in Dominica are being trained on how to care for Ebola patients. Officer in charge for the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Charlotte Jeremy, gave details of a series of training programs initiated by the Ministry of Health.
We have actually completed training for all our doctors and nurses around Dominica, and by October 24th, we will be concluding the education and training, first phase education and training for the rest of our medical staff, which will include, that is the auxiliary workers such as domestic workers, cleaners, orderlies, etc. We have also done training for other persons that are not in the Ministry of Health. For example, we have done training for the staff of the Dominica Festivals Committee. We are also on board next week on the 16th. We are doing training for the persons who work with the cruise ship with WeChurch as the agent, and we are continuing with our training. We are also next week, for example, on the 16th in the evening, we'll be also doing training for our private practitioners. These are the doctors and nurses who are working privately in Roseau.
Meantime, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Helen Royer, says all necessary mechanisms will be put in place to protect healthcare providers.
We are ensuring that we get all the protective gears for our nurses. We have, as I said, we have made submission. We have some protective gear. We have also, part of our budget is to get more protective gear, and we are putting in place, and we have been discussing on ways of ensuring that our staff is protected. One of the things we are trying to do is to ensure that we have minimum amount of staff dealing with the persons in the event we would have any case. So we would not be exposing all our staff at the same time. But as I say, as information evolves, we may have to change certain things and keep updating our plan. But we are actually thinking of ensuring that, because if you realize the public is in concern of Ebola, but our biggest threat is our public our health professionals that will be at first line frontiers with the public. But we have been discussing and we are putting in place to ensure that our staff is being taken care of.
Dominica's health officials have been applauded for their efforts in managing the chikungunya virus. Honorable Minister for Health Julius Timothy says the matter was discussed during a recent meeting of the Pan-American Health Organization, PAHO, which he attended in the United States.
Dominica is being lauded as the best practices as to we dealt with the chikungunya virus. In fact, Dr. Johnson, our chief medical officer, was the man being given praise at the PAHO meeting. And to the extent, so much so, that Jamaica is now asking us for 3 officers to help them in their chikungunya outbreak.
The patients and staff of the Princess Margaret Hospital Psychiatric Unit braved the busy Friday morning traffic between Gmate and Roseau to share a message. That message?
We are working for recovery. We are working for recovery. We are working for recovery. We are working for recovery.
Friday, October 10th was the World Mental Health Day, meant to bring awareness to the issue of mental illness. This year specifically, schizophrenia.
Schizophrenia is a chronic mental illness, right? It's debilitating. It has no known cause, but there are many theories which have been used to try to get an explanation as to exactly what schizophrenia is. And it's been noted that it runs in families, so it's believed that it has a strong genetic link. Additionally, there are theories which also believe that it's related to some chemicals in the brain, right? And that is because of the way in which our medication has been able to how the patients have been able to respond to our medication, which works on one of these neurotransmitters.
Statistics say that 1% of the entire population of 26 million people may be diagnosed with schizophrenia in their lifetime. In Dominica, that means about 700 people. Alex Ford Seaman, a patient at the psychiatric unit, told GIS News why he walked on Friday.
Exercise my joints. That time when you walk, so when you reach, when you come back, when you go back, you take a little bit and you feel yourself comfortable, flexible, very nice for the joints. And you doesn't think in your mind would always in a different, good way how it's supposed to be.
While the walkers may have had varying personal reasons for walking on Friday, the main reason remains that recovery from mental illness is possible. Look out for more on that story in a subsequent newscast. Every year since 2002, the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, ECCB, as well as the governments of the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union, ECCU, have observed the month of October as Financial Information Month. This month's activities is being observed under the theme Soar to Succeed. GIS News hosted an exclusive in-studio session on Thursday with Coordinator for Financial Information Month representing the ECCB, Shoma John.
Throughout the year, the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, we have programs for everybody out there. We do a saving and investment course where people can come in and get information on how to save, why to save, the best ways of investing their monies. That's a 10-week course. From the 18th of November, Eastern Caribbean Central Bank will be running an entrepreneurship course. It is a 16-week course for only $150. You get to meet other persons in the course, form companies, and do the real thing. It's an interactive and practical 16-week session. The cost is really just to have you committed to attend the course. It's not for any profit, since we are not in the business of making profit from the general public. And so to our viewers, We ask you to participate.
John was joined by Solange Magloire, Sagicor representative, and NBD representative Susan Piper, who advised nationals to foster a better understanding of the importance of saving and money management. Magloire informed that Sagicor is currently involved in the Sagicor Visionary Program initiative, which includes partnership with all secondary schools and the Caribbean Science Foundation, Caribbean Examinations Council, and Sagicor. This, she noted, targets students to identify challenges within their communities and schools. NBD representative Susan Piper highlighted the bank's commitment to educating their customers. She said emphasis will be placed on educating and informing school students as well as adults to assist them in developing a zeal for business.
We have our YSTAT product, which is targeted towards the children. And so it teaches children to save at an early age, and it also helps parents to save towards their children's education. We have regular and premium savings accounts that can help adults save towards those emergencies that I spoke about earlier, the short-term emergencies and the longer-term emergencies. We also have savings accounts that are targeted towards retired people, so that it can help them to better manage their money during the retirement years. And of course, we have certificates of deposit, which also helps with accumulating wealth towards your life goals or retirement at any stage.
Other activities to commemorate Financial Information Month 2014 include declaration speeches by the ECCU Ministers for Finance, a trainers workshop for teachers, and a business symposium and innovation forum. In addition to this month's observation, the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank has launched a video competition among ECCU member states to highlight and mark the theme of this year's Financial Information Month, which is scheduled for October 2014. Secondary schools are challenged to use their smartphones to capture visual interpretation of the FIM theme, Soar to Succeed. ECCB has partnered with 27 financial institutions for successful execution of Financial Information Month. And Events Assistant at the Dominica Festivals Committee, DFC, Marva Williams, announced on Tuesday, this weekend may be the final opportunity for patrons to take advantage of the Festival Duive, Roadshow and Hotspot promotions.
This week our Duives continue at the Crazy Coconuts. We will feature the Serenade Band, the XS Groove, and the smaller band, the Danger Band. Like I appealed last week, you know, Dominicans, let's come out, give support to the younger bands. Let's see what they have to showcase. The roadshow will continue on Saturday. We are going to Portsmouth, so you can meet us at the Coco Tongue Bar in Portsmouth. We are bringing lots of prizes and surprises to you. And of course, most importantly, at both the Duives and the Hotspots, you can get your season tickets for $250 Dominicans. We are 2 weeks before the festival, and that may be your final opportunity to get the tickets at a discounted price before it goes up to the normal price, which is $325.
Williams informed that these fringe activities have been successful thus far. Apart from promoting the festival, the events assistant said the Duive activities also aim to provide up-and-coming bands and artists with support and publicity.
Let's see what they have to showcase. I mean, it's better that they not be a nuisance to society, but they are doing something good to contribute to Dominica's culture. You know, there are some of them who need improvement, they need assistance. For example, last week we had a Legacy Band, and it's a good thing they're doing, and I commended them. And like I said, it was an interesting fact to see that when they came to collect their funds yesterday at the office, they said, you know, we're going to open an account because we have instruments to purchase. So these are the things we are looking for. So other persons who can give them whatever support you can, you know, whether it is advice, whether it is monitoring, then go ahead.
The World Creole Music Festival is scheduled to take place from October 24th to 26th at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium. Now for a recap of the week's headline stories with Jana Hector.
Welcome to this week's edition of Flashback. In the headlines this week, the $4.6 million Bells Water Supply Project was officially launched on Monday at the Bells Primary School. This project will benefit the communities of Bells and Penrise and will also make allowance for further extension to the communities of Sylvania and Layu Park. Also this week, 16 young farmers of Mont Prosper were gifted with a supply of agricultural tools from Roseau Valley MP, Honorable Dr. Colin McIntyre, to aid in the maintenance of their lots. This presentation was a fulfillment of a promise made at a recent meeting in that community. A $350,000 contract was signed between the Ministry of Public Works and the Bagatelle Floissac Point Carib Village Council for the commencement of a road rehabilitation project in the Floissac area. Necessary assessments, designs, and estimates have already been conducted by the ministry for that project. In more news this week, the civil registry has now been fully computerized. Over 1,000 machine-readable and fully digitalized birth, death, adoption, and marriage certificates have been issued on the island since September 8th. Nigerian band Flavor was stricken from this year's World Creole Music Festival lineup. The Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit announced the decision as a proactive measure in light of the recent outbreak of the Ebola virus. And the Prime Minister also announced plans this week to rename Dominica's Melville Hall Airport the Douglas Charles Airport in memorial of the contributions of the two deceased former Prime Ministers. An official renaming ceremony will take place on October 27th. And those were the headline stories making the news this week. Back to you, Tasia.
Thank you, Jana. And that's the English news. McPherson St.Luce is next with the Creole highlights.
Hello tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle au créole. Non moi c'est McPherson St.Luce. Premièrement, gouvernement Dominica prend toute précaution qui concerne maladie Ebola. Parole celle-là sortie du Premier ministre Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit au ligne de Festival Créole Mondial qui était un spectacle radio groupe Afrique qui était assis line-up là. Mauvais maladie ça là bien fréquente en Afrique et puis Premier ministre Skerrit dit alayhi salam Dominique ni pour mettre attention à ces pays qui peut la conditionner Dominique en Ouest. Premier ministre a dit il voyait parole bas officier festival créole pour chaîne discussion, négociation et puis officier légal pour voir en quelle manière une solution qu'a concerné contract ban Flavor Rod Nigeria ça prend place. Premier ministre a dit Flavor c'est un ban et puis autant talent et puis il était que voulait voir you perform ici mais si la situation grave Ebola ça pas possible à l'assala. Premier ministre a fait parole qui une espoir qui l'année prochaine si dévelé Ebola qui tape solution et puis ban là peut venir ici. Premier ministre Skerrit dit ça c'est décision gouvernement et puis ça c'est décision finale. Et aussi fait parole qui ban sous Afrique qui performe ici. En nouvelle, le gouvernement Dominique tape assistance au Venezuela pour financer National Employment Programme. Parole celle-là sortie du ministre Employment Honorable Dr. John Colin McIntyre. Selon Honorable McIntyre, programme là bien sérieux.
Moi, je peux parler contre Venezuela, c'est pays comme ça qui est bien bon. Ils ont $7 million. Et bien nous mettons ça là pour aider pour employment. Ça c'est une année qui est passée. Nous avons l'autre année. Nous avons besoin de $4.4 million. Nous tapons ça, nous mettons ça là. Ce n'est pas jouer nous avons fait, ce n'est pas pour nous avons fait pour 3 mois. Non, nous avons fait ça. Ou pour 4 mois, ou pour 6 mois, ou pour une année. Parce que nous avons courir et puis ça. Le Premier ministre parlait pour moi encore, il dit moi, doc, moi j'ai l'autre $2.2 million là. Moi ça baouli pour aider pour tout le monde à Dominique. So c'est pas un gimmick, c'est pas un jouer nous avons faire. Parce que moi regarde moi les affaires tout. Moi dès que les pour enfants bail on travaille pour 6 mois, 1 mois, 2 mois pour nous pas ça. Because depuis où est gouvernement ça, depuis nous là, c'est pas qu'on a, nous bien sérieux. So National Employment Programme c'est un programme bien sérieux. Bon de tout le monde Dominique garder projet là, garder ça nous qu'a faire avec live fini ou live à continuer. OK ouais ça nous qu'a dit. Avec ça nous c'est pour totalité travail à tout le gouvernement Dominique ou là nous dit l'argent mettez jeunes monde, mettez monde qui besoin de travail pour travailler là pour aider tout et le développement de Dominique. So, c'est ça nous qu'a fait.
En la nouvelle, département quarantine ni régulation en place pour faciliter moun mener bagay rentrer pays là. Parole celle-là, sur le chef département là, M. Ryan Ansem.
Ça nous les moun pour travailler avec nous, nous toujours qu'à dire ça. Nous pas qu'à dire pas ça mener, mais nous les dire comment on s'amène. Avec une manière comment on s'amène. So ça parole ça là bien important. Nous qu'à dire où ça mène, mais nous les ba comment on s'amène. Avec nous le venir pour taper en premier. Qui est nous venir en plan de quarantaine avec faire une application pour un premier. Avec on fait ça nous que dire comment où ça mène plan à Dominique. C'est ça nous le dit tout le monde pour travailler avec plan de quarantaine pour nous garder comment nous ca pêcher d'autres bitins rentrer. Nous mentionnons les falières pas mouivre qui ça détruit coucou nous avec pams nous. So encore nous toujours qu'à des monde ça. OK, pas stower, pas mettre bitin en sous caisse dans bitin ou nous le déclarer ça customs avec quarantine. So sous stower mener en bagaille, nous pas ça ou planter. Ça même mener en maladie en Dominique, il ca aller détruire agriculture nous. So encore nous bien sérieux nous ca travailler bien ouais pour nous garder comment nous ca pêcher, investir, pêcher rentrer en Dominique. Parce que pas seulement l'agriculture qui est affectée, et qui affecte le tourisme, et qui affecte santé monde. Si on bagaille venir et contaminité qui affecte monde, so monde ni pour manger ça qui est bon, qui safe en anglais. C'est ça nous ca travailler avec tout le monde pour nous garder comment nous faire ces bagailles ça là.
Et puis finalement, ça fait où la registry civile ou zo kawan au meilleur service ba public là, c'est un système neuf, c'est un bon bagay. Parole celle-là sur le registrar Ozzy Walsh.
C'est un Bobby Tin encore, puis ou savent à partir de l'année passée, ou du fait passé à registry Dominique, c'est 1979 avec brûlé papier nous. Plus nous ça dépassé plus nous ça faire bagaille électronique avec bagaille à ce computer avec un pas à ce papier c'est plus meilleur puisque nous avons information à ce computer nous là avec l'autre information nous ça fait information nous ça fait store à l'autre place so si bagaille brûlé ici ou si quelque chose est fait computer nous crash information tout ça nous là nous à l'autre place à place gouvernement mais ça pas l'école actuellement. So, toute information computer nous, à ce computer, à l'autre place gouvernement, avec un passage, une personne passe à votre dans ce computer là. Puis toute bagaille, c'est security là, avec mon ICT connect, avec mon qui développe ces software, on peut parler avec ICT pour yon votre dedans. Pas même moi c'est ça qui ça votre dedans, puis moi-même moi c'est avocat, ma mon technical. So, c'est un bon bité pour nous, avec ce bité tout qui nous fait tout dominicain plaisir. Puis c'est un bité nous finir avec bagaille à faire bité comme matché, actuellement nous bagaille moderne, avec nous pour dire merci body pour ça.
Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelle en créole pour à présent. Non moins c'est McPherson St.Luce. Ni un bon week-end. Au revoir.
Coming up next, Tip of the Day compliments the ECCB.
DOWASCO recognizes that clean water is vital to healthy living. Therefore, it spares no effort in providing a clean, safe, and reliable system. Help keep our rivers safe and clean. Do not cut trees along the river banks and do not pollute with garbage, human or animal feces, and chemicals. Think water, think life.
Create a spending plan. Yes, you must spend, but it should be guided by a plan. Impulse spending is a sure path to a financial disaster. It is for this reason that budgeting is important if you are to ensure that you are spending wisely. Create a spending plan or budget that will guide you as to how you are going to spend your weekly or monthly income, and then stick to it. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and comments. Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website news.gov.dm. Like us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/GIS News Dominica. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. On behalf of the GIS News Production team, I'm Tasia Floissac. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful weekend.